So Isopanisad is one of the principal Upanishads. Like in all the Vedic literature, so Vyasadeva, who is the literal incarnation of Krishna, so that is how he gets the name Vyasa. That means the entire Vedic library he has partitioned into four parts: Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvavana Veda. So Isopanishad, or all these Upanishads, are actually excerpts of those Vedic mantras. So Vedas are so a huge set of library. For example, one of the Vedas to master, an individual will take like 30 or 35 years to master one Veda. So Vedas consists of so much of this knowledge. For example, the starting of the oldest Veda, which is Rigveda, is Agni Samhita. Agnimi le purohitam, like that it starts. So like the object is, we saw in the last verse, Purnamadah verse, where today also we'll discuss some aspects of it. That is for the living beings to receive, the benedictions of for us to happily live. We need rain, we need crops, we need proper shelter, protection, everything. There are some certain things that we need. So Vedic life sets a standard as to how to attain those. He is offering these hymns, in the yajnas or so on. You are actually taking a portion of the resources that you have onto the in these yajnas or sacrificial fire, so that you are actually sending a portions to the demigods and they get pleased. So basically in the Vedic realm, how it will be like, it will be a huge administration of gods. That is what we call demigods. That is like for successful running of a country or a state, you need not only just president, because we are in United States, that's what I'm saying. You need senators, you need someone who takes of the education, you need someone who takes of the, like police or like cops, and there is like, in terms of this whole administration, you have someone who is, for example, there's a cabinet in India, like ministries. There is like transportation ministry, there is health ministry, so on. So in the similar way, we have the demigods who are adhisthana devatas of certain departments. For example, if I need a beautiful body, you worship either Indra or like Ashwini devatas. Like that, for each of the functioning of for example, you want rains, Indra or Varuna Dev. Indra is kind of like you can say a chief minister under which many ministers are there, like that. So basically there will be someone who is responsible for Jivas coming onto the earth, their death, the angel of death, that is like Yamadev is Yamadharmaraj is there. Like that, there are specific departments where they manage entire thing. So these hymns usually in the Vedas are so because they have like very elaborate lifespans. So the objective is take these portions that are blessed through this and give those portions to these demigods, and they please, and then they again give us back the resources, so that first of all the livelihood will go on peacefully. Then because it is going on peacefully, then with this you tend to contemplate on the meaning of life. Why am I alive? Why am I what am I doing? Like what is the purpose of life? What is this whole creation? This kind of thinking you can do. And dhyanavastita tad gatena manasa pashyanti yam yogino, when they are happily following this dharma, artha, kama, purusharthas, then they will be thinking about this life and creation and all, and that is how they approach to Vedas. And they also, so Vedic library contains all this knowledge, and then they realize what is that absolute truth, and then they perfect their life and go to the destination. So why I am saying this is, so Vedas contains, I told in the last sessions, that Paravidya and Aparavidya, where it speaks about the material welfare as well and spiritual questions as well, like some descriptions about what could be beyond the material world, what could be beyond life and death. These questions also it answers. But since this library is so huge, sometimes it's not everyone can access to that information because they get lost if you are not having that guidance. So Upanishads are these excerpts from these Vedas. Each of the Upanishads are like some. Isopanisad is a very small Upanishad, like 18 verses are there. And there are like these small themes, these excerpts from these Vedas, which covers some specific part of that knowledge, which directly speaks about it. And by studying that, directly we'll approach what that knowledge is about. Like that, there are 11 Upanishads, like Brihadaranyaka. In the name itself, Brihad is there. It's a big one. So that's the biggest Upanishad actually. Like that, there is a Kena Upanishad. Kena means why. That is the meaning of Kena word. So why? So these questions are being asked and they will be answered. So like that, different themes contains different things. So this Upanishad is called Isopanisad because majority of the times, what is the, so sometimes by inference itself we know that there is some supreme power which is actually governing all the living beings. And is that just some energy or it is a person? So this discussion, it again, to make it specific, this Isopanisad starts with īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ. This is the verse we are going to discuss today. So īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ. It starts with Isha word. So that is why this is called as Isopanisad or Isavasya Upanishad. So all the fundamentals again it will cover in this session. So we'll go into this. So now that projector is up, everyone can repeat after me. So just before repeating this verse, I'll just tell very briefly some importance of why we recite the verses. So as I told, like Vedas and Upanishads are actually part of Shruti. So why these verses or mantras are so potent, or I told this briefly in the last class as well. It is because there will be, if you read Bhagavatam, you will have the comprehensive understanding. So whatever that we are seeing, this universe is not just all in all. So the Sanskrit word of the meaning universe is Jagat. Jagat means Jayate Gacchate iti Jagat. Jayate means which is born, Gacchate means which is annihilated. So there will be creation and annihilation of these universes again and again. Millions of times it is happening now, and we are also in the spell of that cycle. For example, right now we are in the 50 years, Manu years of Brahma. So Brahma will be there for another 50 Manu years. So we are approximately, there is some number like 300 trillion, some so on years we are there of this creation. So how many creations and annihilations are going on? These Shruti mantras will not change. So these are actually, there will be the first being, the chief engineer of the universe, Brahma. So he will hear from Supreme Lord Hari. Whenever this creation is happening, there will be a Brahma. There will be like from Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu comes. So every universe this Vishnu is entering, and he'll start the creation. So basically these verses won't change even after the repeated creation and annihilation. So that's why these verses, these are called Apaurusheya, the Shastras. That is, no one sits and write these verses. They are all there eternally. So I will say the line, you can repeat after me. īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ yatkinca jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita māgridah kasya sviddhanam īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ yatkinca jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha māgridah kasya sviddhanam īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ yatkinca jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha māgridah kasya sviddhanam. So these are the word by word transliteration. Isha, by the Lord. Avasyam, controlled, idaḿ, this, sarvaṁ, all, yatkincha, whatever, jagatyam, within the universe, jagat, all that is animate or inanimate. This is what the comprising of jagat. Tena, by him, tyaktena, set apart quota, bhunjita, you should accept, ma, do not, gridaha, endeavor to gain, kasyasvit, of anyone else, dhanam, the wealth. So this is the meaning. So this is the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So this is the translation. I'll go more into this. So basically, this verse speaks about īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ. Everything, animate or inanimate within it, belongs to Isha, īśāvāsyam, controlled and owned by the Lord. So, īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ, yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Yatkincha means that which comprises all that is comprised in that universe is belonging to him. Tena tyaktena bhunjita, one should accept one's quota, ma grudha kasyasvit dhanam. So we should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. That means we should not steal. This is translation by Prabhupada. I will also give translation by other Vaishnava Acharyas as well. We'll go into this verse. So basically, the whole Isopanisad book, like the 18 verses, if you want, you can get also. It's a very small book. You can read it. It's very foundational in spiritual education. Now that we have gone through Bhagavad Gita and you are also repeatedly hearing some of the verses, you can see how that foundations are actually explained in Isopanisad. So Upanishads are broader. It is to pose this for inquisitive minds, those who wants these challenges in obtaining knowledge. So Upanishads are little bit, it will be like riddles in terms of how it explains. So last time, as I said, like it speaks about indirectly about God. For example, that Supreme Lord, what is it? Tad yejati, tad naijati, tad dure, tad avantike. We'll speak about that verse. That is tad yejati, that which moves, tad naijati, that which doesn't move, tad dure, that which is far, tad avantike, that which is close by. So it is speaking about how Lord is all pervading. But the way it poses is about giving these, contradicting statements. One which moves, how can it be stationary? One which is outside, how can it be internal? So when it poses this, then it is giving, to that inquisitive mind, it tickles that intelligence. So that's how it is. And to get that comprehensive understanding, if you go to Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, they will be more direct in this indirect approach of what is that absolute truth. They pinpointedly show that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, under which all this umbrella of the creation is there. So usually Isopanisad also, the invocation to third mantra is speaks about living in harmony with Isha or Ishvara. And 4 to 8 mantras speak about how Ishvara can be understood by spiritual vision. And 9 to 11 are right and wrong vidya for understanding of Ishvara. And 12 to 14 are right and wrong upasana for worship. So now you understand the knowledge or vidya, then you go into how to approach him, those it will be spoken. And 15 to 18 is prayers to Ishvara to reveal himself. We'll go into one verse into more details about what Prabhupada is speaking and what Acharyas are saying. So now you have heard about the translation of Srila Prabhupada. So there are 4 Acharyas commentaries I'll give. So Madhvacharya is the the founder Acharya, you can tell, of Madhva Sampradaya. Vedanta Desika is from Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Baladev Vidyabhushan is also coming from our Sampradaya. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a spiritual master. He comes as the like Guru Parampara of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So Gaudiya Vaishnavism is also Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. So basically last time we have seen about this. I think we'll speak about that, these aspects. Why we should have an Acharya, why should we hear to their version. So Madhvacharya's translation, entire universe, whatever exists in Prakriti is pervaded by the Lord. Enjoy what is given by the Lord, but do not desire the wealth of others. That's what īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ yatkinchat jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita ma grudha kasya sviddhanam. And what Vedanta Desika says is the Lord is inside and outside of everything in this world and beyond. Therefore, experience the objects of the world with a sense of detachment. Since nothing belongs to oneself, do not desire anyone else's wealth. Baladev Vidyabhushan says, the visible world and whatever exists beyond perception is under the control of the Lord. Because of this, you should enjoy only what is allotted to you by the Lord through karma. Do not hanker for more than that. Whose property is it? And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, whatever exists in this universe is all covered by the Lord. Because of this, you should enjoy along with practice of renunciation. You should not hanker the wealth of others. These are the translations. So, Srila Prabhupada gives very nice purport and comprising of all these Acharya's commentaries. We will take like the sections, the themes of what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. So, Prabhupada starts with glory of Vedic knowledge. Because we are starting Isopanisad and this is the first verse. Last verse, if you remember, we spoke about Purnamatah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. It speaks about how spiritual world is complete and material world is complete. And when this world is emanating from that supreme absolute complete, there is no diminishing of that completeness. If you go into Srimad Bhagavatam, as I told, like the scriptures like Smriti literature are like sisters, Prabhupada say. If you remember the analogy that I gave, if you want father is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Mother are Vedic scriptures which are especially Shruti. But like Smriti literature like Srimad Bhagavatam, other scriptures like Ramayana, all these things, especially Srimad Bhagavatam goes into more aspects of Vishnu Tattvasa. They are like sister. Sometimes mother could scold, hey, don't do that like that. Then your sister, elder sister will come closer and speaks in more pacifying tone. Now, how Upanishad speaks is in a very axiomatic approach. As I told, tad vijnanartham sa gurumeva abhigachyata. If you want knowledge, one must approach Guru. That's what Svetaswara Upanishad says. But Puranas goes into more mellow way of giving that condition of what it is and how it is and so on. Like that, about that completeness also, if you take, Dravida Prabhu repeatedly says, one of our senior monks of this temple, like how the Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutra, Janma Jasyayataha, that is, from whom Janma Adi, birth, creation, everything, etc. Adi means etc. Ityadi. From whom it comes. So it's speaking about generator, operator and destroyer. That aspect of the God. But if you see Bhagavatam, the first verse itself is the purport of these statements. Janma, the example is, the first verse itself, Janma Jasya Yatonvayadi Taratas Chardeshva Bhigna Swarat Tene Brahmhridaya Yadi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsureha, like that it goes. That is, Janmadhyasya Yaton Anvayad Itaratas Chardeshu Abhignaha Swarat. It is speaking about the properties of the Lord in more detailed way. He is Swarat, he is self-sufficient, and that is what? He is complete. He doesn't need anything. He is complete by himself. And like that, the Vedic knowledge has these different distinctions. So, when we spoke about the last verse, we spoke about the completeness of the Lord, completeness of the spiritual world, and also completeness of the material world. Even though we have sufferings, the sufferings makes this material world complete. That's what we saw in the last verse. where by a jiva, yeah. So we will go into those things in this. So this, now you saw that is complete and this is complete. Now it is going into who is that complete person that is there. That who is that complete, it is going to the more definition of who is that Isha is. Directly it goes into that. So I spoke about this point, like about Prabhupada opens the purport about the glory of Vedic knowledge, and Vedic knowledge is infallible, but we have to listen from a bona fide disciplic succession of spiritual masters. Otherwise, there will be a distortion in that message. And that is why it is better to stick to a parampara, listen to a disciplic succession, so that we can make progress in the spiritual life. So it is like if you are hearing the same message from different people who are not following the same parampara, then you get confused here and there. For example, Upanishad language itself, the word Atma, this is, Atma could mean self, Atma, Brahman. These two are enough to confuse any spiritual seeker. So, Atman word or Brahman word can mean Brahman, that Brahmajyoti equivalent, aspect, or it could mean like someone who is on the Brahman platform. Like that, there is multiple meanings of it. Atma also. Atma could mean to an individual jiva or to a Paramatma. So, to know that context and all, we should know from a bona fide line of parampara. I spoke about in the first introduction verse about how Kesavam patitam drishtva, what is it? Pandava harsha nirbaraha. If you take this Sanskrit verse, Kesavam patitam drishtva, Pandava harsha nirbaraha. What is the other thing? Rudante kauravaste, ha ha Kesava Kesava. This is a verse. If you take literally the Sanskrit meaning of this verse, it says about Kesavam patitam, by seeing the dead body of Kesava or Krishna, Pandava harsha nirbaraha, Pandavas are laughing, hey, like this. And Rudante Kauravas are like crying, ha Kesava Kesava, like that they are crying. Is that true? Pandavas are pure devotee of Krishna. This is completely false. But if you do another way of grammatically approaching this statement, it means Kesavaha. Savaha means a dead body. Seeing a dead body falling into a pond. What is that? Residents of pond, which are fish, they are actually celebrating. For another 2-3 months we don't need to cook. We have like full free delivery of the meals. That's what they are happy about. And Kaurava means the crows and other birds which are actually depending on that. They are like upset. Ha Kesava Kesava. So why I am saying this verse is, if you are really going up in a grammatical way by what this word means, that word means and all that, sometimes the meaning will be completely distorted and we will be lost. So it's very important to listen consistently from a parampara so that we can make a significant progress towards the Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana. If you follow a bona fide spiritual master, he will actually speak the knowledge. First, the source, Sambandha. Abhideya is the process. And Prayojana, by following this process, what is the result that you are going to get? So this is the advantage of following one bona fide disciplic succession. And I said about Vedas are Apaurushaya, and what happens if you don't listen from a bona fide authority and you are listening from some mundane person is, they have these 4 defects. I went in the last class about the details of these 4 defects. And he is certain to commit mistakes, subject to illusion, propensity to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. This is why approaching knowledge from a bottoms up approach is fallible. That's why Sabda Praman is the recommended one in approaching that knowledge. And so another thing is, there is some scientific approaches, not only scientific philosophers also, who thinks that nature is God. So nature is God. whatever is happening, the nature rules everything, like that. But one thing is, if God is perfect, which is said by the previous verse and also this, there is no possibility of him being subject to the laws of nature. He should be beyond the laws of nature. So that is why the nature could be one of the energy of the Lord, but not something which dictates Lord. That is what Isopanisad clarifies. And we'll see the more elaboration in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna actually tells Maya Jakshena Prakriti Suyate Characharam. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's write, not Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Madhvacharya writes in one of the commentary that in Brahmanda Purana, Madhvacharya writes this commentary actually in that. Because the world cannot function on its own, Lord must dwell within it for it to function. Because he enters Prakata for it to function, he is called the Lord of Prakriti. Vishnu is called Lord of Prakriti because functioning of everything is dependent on him. It is said to belong to him. Enjoy what is given by him and do not ask for anything else. This is the commentary of Madhvacharya actually. And that is what Prakata is, and Lord is the Lord of Prakriti. And Isopanisad, I said, is a part of Yajurveda. So what Prabhupada tells next is, Lord is proprietor of everything. After going through Bhagavad Gita, one thing we will understand is that if you just understand, realize and practice this just line, īśāvāsyam idaḿ sarvaṁ yatkincha jagatyam jagat, you will actually become Paramahamsa devotee. Because it speaks about who is the supreme proprietor of the Lord, and when you accept it and you practice it in your life, then automatically you will live as subjected to the laws of nature. How you are abiding by that laws, you will become very Paramahamsa devotee if you really understand and practice. So why we will see in these sections, Lord is the proprietor of everything. In Bhagavad Gita, these are the verses which speaks Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritirashtada. He speaks about 8 elements. Krishna, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. And apareyam yatastvanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So Prabhupada writes this in this purport. There is para prakriti, there is apara prakriti. So the elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, these all belongs to Lord's inferior material energy, which is called apara prakriti. And there is some components in this universe which belongs to para prakriti, which is the living beings. The organic energy is his superior energy, which is para prakriti. Ultimately, he is controller of everything that exists. Everything is the property of the supreme being. That is what Prabhupada tells in the first paragraph. So, Krishna is the supreme proprietor of anything. So, in that he mentions, Krishna is a supreme being, absolute personality of Godhead, the complete person. He has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by means of his different potencies, by his different shaktis. And he is the possessor of all potencies, knower of everything and benefactor of everyone. Krishna tells in one of the verses, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvaṁ pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvaṁ pravartate. So, I am the supreme proprietor of anything. From me, everything emanates. So, Prabhupada also gives, he is also the Lord of Shadaisvarya. Bhagavan means he should have 6 opulences. He is the all-powerful, all-fame, beauty, knowledge and renunciation. So, Krishna is full in all. And also, Prabhupada mentions he is like a fire. Everything organic and inorganic is like heat and light of the fire. So, basically, if you see like a fire coming from burning from the dry wood or so, It consists of many features. Like it consists of heat, it consists of that bright red color, and it consists of these, Vispulinga, they say in Sanskrit, the, fire particles which are coming up. So there are more components of the fire. So that is, Krishna is like a fire. All these organic, inorganic things, Viswas, when Mahavishnu is sleeping, when he breathes in, breathes out, there will be universe popping up in this, from his sweat pores. That painting you can see. How, there are like globes of universes, the first painting, that is what it is. The globes of universes will be, and where Mahavishnu will be sleeping. So, he is like a fire. Everything organic and inorganic is like heat and light of that fire. And then, okay, now up to now we have discussed about how he is supreme, he is complete, he owns everything. Then what are we? So, don't we have anything to, do anything? So basically we are given tena chaktena bhunjita, means we are also given some quota. That is, I will tell you a very simple concept. For Jiva will have a desire. Like when he sees Ishvara, he has some desire to enjoy like him, and there will be some desires which are coming. That's where this kammano buddhir will come, like the mind intelligence and false ego comes in. So to facilitate that, there are some sanctioned and sanctified. This is the two things that are given. That is, one should therefore to be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is a proprietor of anything, and one should accept only those things that are set aside by the Lord as his quota. So even Jivas will have quota. As I told, what is it? The three Purusharthas. Dharma, Artha, Kama. For us to live. Basically, we have the food particles, food sources. So that is sanctioned. To sanctify it, we will offer to the Lord and take it as the prasadam. Why will take as a prasadam? If anyone has question, this is the verse. Because he tena chaktena bhunjita magrida kasya sviddhanam. How magrida kasya sviddhanam is, you will not steal another man's property. If you really understand this, then you will live like a saint in this world. That is, suppose if I am so-and-so employee of a company, to go to some business travel or something, they gave me a permission to use company's car. And so, until you are doing that business of the company, you will handle the car. How will you vandalize it? If you vandalize it, then you will have to pay price for it. So basically, all these facilities, including our body, our wealth, whatever the relationships that we have, these are all belonging to the Lord, and this is the nature with which we should approach it. The notion with which we should approach is that if you go to these Pune temple or any Brahmachara ashrams, their books or anything they label as ICO, like Ram Vilas Das, ICO they write. That is in care of. That is what our role is. So basically these are all belonging to the Lord. I was given to take care of it. This body is given to me for me to utilize this Yuga Dharma properly and get that, go to the next destination. So that is the purpose of it. So, but everything is belonging to the Lord. So when you see that, you won't abuse it, you won't vandalize it, you won't approach it with an enjoyership mentality. This is called Bhoga Vritti. If you are approaching any sense objects to enjoy it, you are approaching with Bhoga Vritti. And if you are approaching with Bhoga Vritti, you are prone to misery. So those foundations are being said in this verse. One of the example Prabhupada mentions is, the cow for instance gives milk, but she does not drink that milk. She eats grass and straw, and her milk is designated as food for human beings. If you are coming from the rural part of India, especially a few years ago, the way they do is early morning they wake up, and the cow, mother cow, where the udder is filled with milk, they will let the calf drink the milk first. They'll have the names like Lakshmi, Nandini. This is the classic names for the cows. If there is a calf, they'll name as Nandini or Lakshmi, like that. And so basically the calf cannot drink entire milk that is coming from the udder of the cow. It drinks some, and the leftover milk is used for the purposes of a Brahmana. That's why Go Brahmane Bhya Subhamastu Nityam. In Vedic society, a Brahmana and cow are inseparable, because A Brahmana will be self-sufficient if he has a cow. It gives all the milk products to eat. It gives the ghee to do yajan, all those things, yajna thing. So that's why cow is kamadhenu. If you have, see, the whole purpose of we suffering in this world is because we are relying on these companies which are basically running slaughterhouses. But if we are self-sufficient, then we don't need to, support these sinful people, in terms of where they are doing these mass, harmful things. And that is what the Varnashram system establishes. So basically, now this example that cow is giving milk for our well-doing and all, it does not drink its milk. The whole purpose of a cow is to give milk to others. So that is how Lord very strategically gave this everything so that the living beings can live peacefully and perform our prescribed duties properly. That is why whole this creation is there. And we should also take these material elements like in that sense itself. Like how one's quota is there, like that it is there. Another example Prabhupada mentions is about quota in human possession of earth. For example, many of we have houses, they are made from earth, wood, stone, iron, cement and other components. If we think in terms of Isopanisad, we must know that we cannot produce any of these building materials ourselves. But we are using that to create something called as house and we are taking shelter in it. And that is why we should, when we are realizing from the Isopanishad's point of view, when you are looking at that world, then you will realize that what are the ingredients that this house that I am being luxuriously enjoying is actually given by the Lord. So basically he practically owns it. I am just a resident in it. Like how we sign lease from a landlord, like that we are also blessed by that, by some virtue that we have done previously. So we had some money or some other stability that we were able to acquire home and so on. And that's why in the house also we should make it as a temple. That's why the classic Vedic homes contains temple like a mandir in the house. That is, Lord, you are the main resident of the temple. I am just like living on your mercy. That is the way when you are approaching it, then you will not be bound by the cycle of karma. So that's why the prescription that is given from the literature is that's why when you are approaching this matter, you should spiritualize this. When you are eating food, you are making food, you offer it and take it as a prasadam. So any sinful reactions that we are subjected to, that Lord will remove it from it. And that's how we perfect our life. The purification will happen. So another thing Prabhupada mentions is about communists versus capitalists. So this post-World War time, this is the major socio-economic problem that is present in the world, where there are some notion of the people where they say no matter whatever amount of work you are doing, money should be equally distributed, property should be equally distributed. And there is other side capitalists which are running after, like whoever is smart and they should be rewarded well, like that. It's excessive greed driven basically. And there is a discussion that Prabhupada mentions very nicely, that these are like, some fights between cats and dogs. This is not like behaving like humanly. Both of these ideas, communists or over capitalism or over communism, these are all flawed. Because they are not God-centric lives. And Prabhupada also mentions that human nature, when you are in whatever the quota that is given to you, we shouldn't quarrel over material things, realize the importance and aim of life, and satisfied by the privileges given by the Lord, know Him to be the ultimate proprietor. If you know that the whole world or this earth is belonging to the Lord, then you do not wage these stupid wars claiming whose land is whose. You like this kind of greed driven, all these things will stop if you realize that the Lord is actually the owner and we are actually taking residence. So harmony will be established. So that is what is being discussed here. So in summary, this is the last slide. So in summary, what Prabhupada is speaking about, how to live according to īśāvāsyam principles. So humans versus Yeah, I will speak about that spiritualizing the matter section also here. So, I spoke about this in previous classes as well. So, animals, thank you, thank you so much. So, animals have this intelligence where to acquire this eating, mating, sleeping, defending activities, it learns from its parents. Basically, a bird, tries to learn its first fly. Until then, the mother bird will come and bring the food to its nest. As soon as it gets some strength, then it will fly on its own. Like that, the predator also, when it is living on its food for the prey, it teaches the basic hunting skills. So intelligence is not zero. It is there until these are acquired. But human beings are much more. We won't stop at eating, mating, sleeping, defending. But we can ask these existential questions of life. What is life? What is death? What is relationships? What is my purpose? What is the main reason that I have to live for? There is a reason that we are here, right? So these kind of questions we'll ask under inquisitiveness and to listen to that answers from the Sabda Praman given by the bona fide spiritual authority and practice in our lives. That intelligence has been given. That is one of the gifts given by the Isha, and we should take this advantage and read this literature and understand it ourselves and practice in our life. So that is how a human being will have a developed consciousness. So Prabhupada mentions Vedic literature is meant for humans, not animals. That is why there is some discussion also. Actually, in one of the Krishna Lounge we had this discussion. So we'll go into that point. Avoiding sins is one thing. If there is this animals which hunt also, will they also acquire karma? No, they do not, because they are actually following the laws of nature. There is a whole a life chain, like food chain, that is given, and they actually follow that food chain which is like given by the laws of nature. I'll tell you a very good example for this. A lion or like a tiger might eat some animal, but once its belly is full, even though it is seeing its prey, it won't hunt it. You can see in the ponds sometimes in middle of a forest, like these animals drink water together. You'll be surprised, right? They should attack each other. But once the predator's belly is full, it won't attack prey. So they are strictly following their laws of nature. And you do not see like even the belly is full, they are going and like killing just because they want to. These kind of tendencies human beings will have, because we are driven by greed. If we are having a shelter, we want much more. If we are given some wealth, we want much more. So this is like coming from the bhoga-vritti nature of the human being. We want always more and more and more and more and more. And once when you realize, okay, 9 to 5, I have only 24 hours per day. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, out of which these 24 hours, 8 are to be taken care of body, sleeping, bathing and other bodily needs. 8 are for maintaining the family and everything, job, work, everything. And 8 should be strictly given to the Lord. The morning, that too especially Brahma Muhurta hours. We should spiritually practice the prescribed duties, that is Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting and so on. So, living according to īśāvāsyam principles is realizing that human beings, as human beings, we were given developed consciousness. We should not waste it away. Atmahanaha, there will be a verse. It will come in the next verses. We should not waste it away, and we should engage in studying about the Lord and living the Vedic life. And another thing is to understand the laws of nature and avoid breaking it. And one of the things is that is prescribed by the 4 pillars that are given from the Vedic Shastras is no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. These are the 4 pillars where if you do not commit a sin is, actually this is the last point that is there. The root of sin is the deliberate disobedience of the laws of nature by disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. And one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature, and who is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion, is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to Godhead, back to eternal home. That is why whatever the facilities and faculties that we have, we try to offer. When we cook, we offer to the Lord and take as a prasadam. When the flowers, beautiful flowers are offered to the Lord, we smell it because this is also prasadam from the Lord, and purify our nose. Like that, when we are hearing, we hear about the glorification of the Lord and purify our thing. And we are, offering our obeisances and, doing puja and all, we are sanctifying the sense of touch. All these senses we are purifying. So by gradually doing this, we will attain purification and reach and serve the Isha. That is what the first verse is. Thank you very much for bearing with me. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, yeah. So next class we will discuss about Mantra-2 of Isopanisad. It's either me or other speaker will come and speak. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So there will be a nice prasadam which will be served. You can have it. And last darshan will be at 8:15. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.